I would say the most challenging part of teaching is taking 24 children from such diverse backgrounds that come in with such different experiences and teaching them how to become a community of learners and making sure that each child has their needs met. In kindergarten, you have the academics you teach, but you also have the social emotional skills that we want to teach our children so they can go into the world and become wonderful, loving, empathetic adults. And so that is probably one of the hardest things, is teaching them how to be responsible and respectful in the classroom and in the world around them.
This year, the challenge that I'm facing is having students realize about making mistakes and how that is a good thing and it's accepted and encouraged, for that's when we do the most learning, when we make our mistakes. And having them develop a growth mindset, realizing that we learn through our mistakes and that intelligence is not innate but more learned, and it's in the process, in the journey of learning, that we become intelligent and not so much the grade.
The most challenging thing about teaching is keeping the kids engaged and having those lessons interactive and practical for the students. That's the interesting thing about our Learning Readiness Physical Education program, as well as Brain Breaks, as well as keeping those hands-on practical experiences with our hands-only CPR, is getting the kids in there, making those lessons fun, and so that the kids can understand the philosophy and the theory behind what's being taught, so that they can continue those throughout their life, so they can live a healthy, productive, and happy life.
Every day I think it's a challenge. Students are very different. We get 30 students with different needs, with different personalities, and just trying to accommodate to them. And I think for us as educators right now, it's really important to teach our students to be global citizens, to value the cultures here in California is really important. And I think trying to bring that into the classroom can be challenging sometimes, but we are so lucky in California to have wonderful resources to bring the world into our classrooms and expose our students to the world and provide opportunities for them to be global citizens.
The most challenging thing today, I think, about teaching is the oversimplification of what teachers do. There seems to be this belief that teachers are just unskilled laborers and students are widgets. And if we just all did things the same way, the way they're telling us to do, then the outcomes would be great. Things are different than they were 20, 30 years ago when me and some of these politicians went to school. The whole family dynamic has changed, and we need to understand that there are inequities that need to be dealt with in the classroom. There are inequities from school to school, from school district to school district, from state to state. And our children are all coming with different opportunity issues maybe in their families too. So we need politicians to understand that what they're doing is really hurting education and hurting teachers and in effect hurting students.
One of my teachers once told me that education is all about change, not necessarily in terms of the subject matter and the content standards, but just in terms of meeting kids where they're at. So I'm always trying to keep up with the latest trends, what gets them excited, because really the content in a lot of ways doesn't change, it's pretty consistent, but the delivery of that and getting generations of students excited about that content is really what the challenge is for me. I'm always trying to be the most energetic, the most enthusiastic person in the room, just to model what I hopefully expect from my students and I get from them, to get them excited about learning, because I think that content without delivery is basically knowledge without passion, meaning it doesn't go anywhere, it kind of renders itself useless, but it really is the passion and the delivery that encourages kids who eventually will become the innovators of tomorrow, to be creative, to instill change, to change our community and our society for the better.